Hello and welcome everybody. We are back here for more continued coverage of the online qualifiers of the Season 3 Oceanic Championships. My name is Pastry Term and I'm still here with Papa Smithy, and we have a spicy match for you as the newest Exile 5 team, the third one now, X5 Eclipse, formerly known as the Poachers, do enter the scene now in round 4, as we do sit here at the end of the round 4 today at least, but we've got plenty of matches to bring you, of course. Papa, how are you feeling, man? A couple matches in, we're, depending on where we get up to, maybe halfway through today's games?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Watching my voice to make sure it doesn't go to crazy places, because still, you're feeling fine after the effects of the flu, but still feeling a little bit off. And solo casting not quite my forte, but things are good. It's good to have you back, and it's good to have another exciting team, another team full of quality players get to apply their wares on stream.
Yep, no, so as far as I know, I believe the team on the right is called Iron Gaming. I tried to get the sound off for me, but Iron Gaming or IG, I believe, is the team name. If that is incorrect...
IG. Let's not call them IG.
No, that would probably become problems. The INGs, maybe? That could be fun.
Let's give them too much credit also. We don't know if they are clever enough to come up with that themselves.
We shall see. Jarvan Twister Fake Cannon, the bans out there from Eclipse, and the Iron guy's going to go ahead and ban out Elise, Zac, and Thresh, as Jace, surprise at this point, gets first picked up by X5, and Hecarim's going to follow, it looks like. I've not seen him in a while, but if there's anything to learn from the Asian meta, of course, Papa, which we have been known to frequent from time to time, Hecarim's a good guy sometimes.
Yeah, but I feel like Riot is really smashing him into the ground with nerfs. There's more PBE nerfs slated for him. He has so much AoE control, and he's a great snowball jungler, but his weaknesses are definitely getting exemplified. Or magnified, I guess, patch after patch. But the AoE control, he's such a popular pick on the LPL. Mostly last season. I mean, the new season obviously hasn't started until next week. But, he was such a feared jungler in solo queue for a reason. It's because when he gets big, he does massive damage and he stays alive forever.
And we'll see if the Iron Gaming guys can carry that through here with Hecarim. We've got Sona as well, going to be their support pickup here for this one. DJ Norman, for those of you playing at home, is Spooks, by the way. I had to get that checked out. I don't know if he wants me to call him DJ Norman. He probably does, but
we have to. I mean, we have much more viewers from Australian content here than we used to. So let's go with the names we're given.
Sure.
But everyone should have a nod for some of their fun previous names, just for those people who've been around a while and know these people under some different IDs.
Yeah, so for any of you who knew Spooks before as a player, he's been around the scene, been around for a while, very good player, and that is DJ Norman this game around. Looks like Nunu's actually going to get picked up here, and Caitlyn Nunu left open, I think, for the first time today, or certainly picked for the first time that we've seen. And from what I've heard, Nunu is a very, very scary Yeti/small man combo. I'm not quite sure.
For sure, and it's just the reality of, he has that 600 damage consume on a fairly low cooldown. He has Smite available, that's already about 1100 damage at level 1 when it comes to true damage, and when all the the jungle experience is based around the big buffs, stealing away a big buff, being a big buff up is just even more important now, and that is Nunu's forte.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that last game, actually. We saw Euphoria just tear through Sejuani's jungle there in the other X5 game, X5 Luna versus J-Spark. And yeah, Nunu, as you said, really exemplifies high single-target minion-based damage. That is, consume is essentially an extra smite. So if Nunu is going to be running into the jungle, he could be support. Remember, there is that option. But the support side of Nunu was nerfed a little bit. He's been picked up a little more now, a bit more in vogue into the jungle. So I'm expecting him to go there, but of course, we can't always be surprised. Ashe Cho'Gath, actually, the pickups here. So lane Cho'Gath by the looks of things, and Ashe, not an AD carry we see all that often, but certainly something we have seen for a long time, I suppose. She's been around for a while, but nice to see Ashe coming back here. Definitely adds a very different dynamic as an AD carry to a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, Ashe has her strengths. Obviously, laning's not one of them. And if you notice, the trend for these matches, especially the matches with an established pro team against a newer team, the pro teams are always going for those lane bullies. I mean, that's what's in vogue all around the globe now. That's why you always see the Cannons and the Jaces of the world, just because they dominate lane so hard. So we look here. I mean, Jace is the lane bully. There's no beating Jace. Caitlyn is an AD carry, in terms of the AD carry lanes, definitely a bully with that range advantage. I mean, Nunu's just a dick, right? Nunu's just going to be in your jungle stealing your stuff. Not much you can do there.
Yes.
I mean, Lux is a bit more defensive of a choice, but they're picking to win lane and just being able to snowball from there. It's not like these champions fall off early or anything. It's just the early lane is their forte.
Yes, and you're right in that is a lot of what these established teams are going for. I think primarily because if you think you are the better team and you can outplay your opponent in the laning phase, you tend to set up a really easy game for yourself. Or easier game, I should say. I mean, if the last game was any indicator, you have a very snowbally laning phase, it's quite easy just to close out the game with minimal effort. And I think a lot of the pro teams, especially because it's such a long day, there are so many rounds to play and so many teams, I think conserving some of your energy as well is also something that would play into this sort of things. Definitely not the primary reason why you're doing something like this, but little things like that definitely add up over the course of a long tournament day. And it's a single Elim best of one right now, so everyone's basically got to take whatever advantage they can get.
And I guess at this point, Iron Gaming are hoping they can channel some of that CLG Fiji strength with this Kha'Zix pickup here. The CLG Fiji Kha'Zix went crazy, even though Qmax Kha'Zix is normally a top lane thing nowadays. He went mid lane, he farmed, and you can probably split a lane against a Lux. Lux does have that kill potential at 6, but otherwise, hopefully can split the lane and then potentially just end up to a massive assassin that we know Kha'Zix can be. But with the Ashe pick, with the Cho'Gath pick, with the Hecarim jungle against the really strong bullies on the enemy team, it's going to be a tough game here for Iron Gaming.
Yeah, so about 10 seconds until the delay time kicks in. I'm actually kind of curious to check out what DJ No One's got going on in the Runes and Masteries, because I don't know if you know this story, Papa Smithy. I'm sure you do. Spooks was a big proponent of Turbo X Jungler. He is, in fact, responsible.
Yes, that was an old joke of just amassing movement speed across Runes and Masteries and then getting a Janna on your team. And he's got the Janna, so I can see why you're interested.
He's got the move speed, Quince. And, yep, 21 utility, 0921. I mean, in all seriousness, Spooks is actually... Sorry, DD Norman's actually quite an established Nunu player. It's probably one of his most played junglers as a jungler, but Turbo Nunu is unaffected. Not quite the glory that was Turbo Skarner.
He doesn't have Wanderer, though, Pastry Time. He does not have...
Does he have Wanderer?
He doesn't have 2% increased movement speed out of combat, which I think, given the amount of other modifiers he has, is a bit of a disappointing decision there.
I am very upset.
But, I mean, it's very hard. I mean, when it comes to the utility tree, if you're not picking up 3 points in Meditation and 3 points in Mastermind, you're kind of doing it wrong. So I can see why he doesn't have them, but still, he's going to be, with Blood Boil, the fastest Yeti.
The fastest Yeti in the West, yes. Most certainly is. Willimp is going to be at absolutely ludicrous speeds.
And we didn't mention another thing, Pastry Time. There is no Chief Swiffer on this team. Chief Swiffer, the mid player for Poachers, the mid player for Team XL5 Eclipse. Probably one of the superstars of the Australian scene. A very fine player in his own right. I believe he's on a holiday as of today.
Correct.
Or is in the process of going on holiday. We have Astrus, another mid laner who's played for organizations like Mindfreak and Chiefs, filling in for him here.
Yeah, so that is the other thing I wanted to point out as well. Thank you for bringing it up. Yes, Swiffer is on holiday, unfortunately. So hopefully, he's probably written for his team wherever he is.
Not at full strength, but I mean, when you think of Team XL5 Eclipse, you think of Chief Swiffer and you think of DJ Norman. Their mid lane and their jungler set the trend for a game. They're the ones that really set the tone for what the game's going to be. Much like when you think of Gambit Gaming, you think of Alex Ich and Diamond. Chief Swiffer and DJ Norman are pretty much, in my mind at least, a really good parallel to those. So might be a little bit different here. Maybe a little bit more responsibility falls on DJ Norman's side.
Yeah, what do you think of the Janna pick? This is actually twice now that we've seen Janna. Believe both times being picked by... I guess in the first game, I think it was CLG Fiji noobs that picked it. So not quite an established team, because of course we'd, until today, had never heard of them, but they looked really good when they played. I mean, Janna Caitlyn obviously has some really great synergy in there. Janna Nunu, again, if you want to do the turbo thing, is kind of a thing. But I have to think that they didn't just want Janna for Tailwind. But, I mean, do you like the picker, particularly against Ashe or Sona?
I think Janna's... The reason why Janna had that, year-long, 6-month-long insta-pick, first ban phase is because she's always been strong against AoE and strong against assassination. We look over on the Iron Gaming side here. Kha'Zix are probably one of the strongest assassins in the game right now, and Hecarim known for his AoE initiation. In both cases, Janna has an answer to those things. And the move speed, especially for the Turbo Nunu we're going to see here, it's the icing on the cake.
Yes, very delicious icing. That was a cold pun, right? It was a frost pun. I like it.
It wasn't actually, but I'll take it.
You'll take it, yeah. I'll give it to you. You can have it. So we're going to load in now. Eclipse up against Iron Gaming, X5 Eclipse, to be, in fact, the newest members of the Exile organization, a team, if you're familiar with the scene, formerly known as Poachers. I guess touted at one point reasonably recently as the second best team in Australia. They've certainly been putting up very good results, despite not being a team for all too long. Certainly less established in terms of
It's got those names, though. I mean, Chief Swiffer and DJ Norman have been around the scene a long time. Asterisk, even though he's a sub here, has been as well. When it's come to the Australian scene previously, which is, of course, where we draw most of our knowledge, it's commenting on, smaller tournaments with a lot of names, a lot of diamond players that have kind of jumped from team to team but been around the scene a long time, so you kind of know what to expect. And poachers have always had, or Team Exile 5, Eclipse as they are known now, have always had a lot of momentum, a lot of interest around them.
Yeah, I have to say, I really like the skin that DJ Norman's brought out here as well. Sasquatch Nunu is a skin close to my heart.
The legacy skin.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I'm a Cookie Monster guy myself.
Grungy Nunu.
It's just so, I don't know, there's something about it that just, on a very basic level, makes me smile.
It just works? Just works for you?
It just does. I mean, you're a Cookie Monster.
You are.
You just go and nom things everywhere. No offense to Cho'Gath, of course.
No, I mean, certainly Cho'Gath is going to be doing plenty of nomming. I guess that's going to be top lane Cho'Gath? Yeah. I guess it could be mid as well if they wanted to. But again, it might be a situation where we get mid Kha'Zix for one more time. I guess maybe people haven't quite adapted to the change. Because as far as you're concerned, from your experience, Papa, it seems like Kha'Zix is definitely a champion that's suited more to top lane now after the changes.
That seems to be the groupthink, but I mean, we've been wrong about such things many times before. Like, he can still lane in the mid, he just doesn't have the crazy wave clear that made it safer before.
Yep, so just a quick roll call here so you guys know what's going on. X5 Eclipse on the left there, DJ Norman, their jungler, going to be on Nunu. Pause their support down on Janna in the bottom lane, along with Caitlyn, their AD, Team Deathmatch version 2. We're going to have Jace here, first mate in the top lane, most likely, is their top lane player. And Astros, of course, filling in for Chief Swift for their mid player, going to be on Lux, touting their very
I believe that must be Zerg/Berserk on Caitlyn there. This must be an Australian ID.
Yeah, so for anyone wondering, yes, that is the
It's only the single substitute here. It is their normal AD carry.
Correct, yes. Only Super is away, thankfully for X5. And over on the Iron Gaming side, that one's tricky. Elutriel? I'm going to go with that for Hecarim in the jungle.
Elutriel?
Yeah, Elutriel. I think it's Elutriel. Hecarim, sure. See down the bottom there on Sona. In the mid here, we do have Bluely on Kha'Zix. Looks like he's likely going to be in the mid. Seasonal here looks like going to be going towards the top lane, although they're all kind of hanging around here. Is on Cho'Gath and Sadius. Sadius on Ashe. Man, these guys have the names that are tricky. I normally don't get top lane names.
People are starting to get those fun names. Like, a lot of names we know from the past on the poacher side, but some cool names. Seed and Seasonal, both very cool.
And on the NA server would have been very difficult to get either of those
so
names.
Now that you've opened up, and I'm sure people have been sniping names left, right, and center, it's good to see some of these names in action here.
Yeah, we did mention a couple of the snipes in the immunity game, so it has happened.
That's a bit different, though, because they're sponsored players. It's at least my opinion that Riot should look into getting those names back.
I'm sure that will happen. We are, of course, very new to the server still.
I won't speak out of turn, but it'd be sad if I couldn't see I'm Venom or I'm Radia.
All right, well, we are going to start with some jungling here. DJ Norman's going to eat up this red buff. Going to have help here from both Team Deathmatch version 2, aka Zergt, and Pause here. So noms it up. Still has Smite available. That's kind of Nunu's thing. Blood bows himself up and going to go
investigating the counter jungle, which also is all about Nunu.
Really nicely placed ward, though, is going to spot them out there. So they do know what's happening. In fact, running to the blue buff, not going to help, unfortunately, because it's already been taken. Hecarim.
Now, I don't understand this particular pathing he's taken down just because he's against a Hecarim who wants a blue at the best of time. And the only time you really see the reversed, like, the only time you see a Hecarim start red is so that he could gank top faster. So given the fact that they were on the red side, and the fact that it was Hecarim, I don't think the chance of the blue being up there were very high.
Yeah, and Lutriel does pick up his...
he's actually ahead of Nunu so far.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Norman had to kind of walk a wonky way. You realize that blue is gone, walks all the way back around through mid towards blue. I mean, he's got blue now, so he's only a few seconds behind, but he's definitely lost time here to do any extra counter jungling.
Look at this, the forced 1v2 here. I actually really like it, because, of course, way back when, before 1v2 was a thing, Hotshot GG on Cho'Gath was always proved the champion's strength in a 1v2.
Yeah, the Iron Cho'Gath, as it was known way back when.
Was it really called the Iron Cho'Gath?
I believe it was, yes. Oh, someone made a guide about it. That was
because we're watching Iron Gaming, remember?
Ah!
That's a bit...
That must be it.
I'm suspicious of you.
It's Nick till the next level. Asterisk there does have to flash away there as a Lucio comes through the mid. Nice gank there from Hecarim.
I feel like you're metagaming, dude.
No, I'm not kidding. I'll find a link to the solo mid guide.
The Iron Cho'Gath. Very apt, then.
It should be, if it's not. Looks like DJ Norman going to get spotted here as well, trying desperately to help out Jace here, maybe get a gank off, but really nice ward coverage and vision coming out from Iron Gaming. So Nunu's kind of been denied.
We haven't seen from the, I guess you could call them less fancy teams on stream so far, yeah.
Yeah, definitely Lulu here in the mid, really going into Astralis, and just in general, they've defended really well against this Nunu. They kind of, you see that pick, you kind of know what you're in for, and looks like Hecarim might even do some counter juggling here, which is very, very different. And Nunu, again, still trying to get this gank off. But unfortunately, I mean, he might do a little bit of damage here to see, but no one's really going to go down. Nunu just wasting his time being annoying, helping out Jace, which is nice. Give first made a little bit of breathing room in his 1v2, but he's actually going to start losing jungle, although now he's rotating over, going to start eating some creeps. But he has to be careful. It's difficult, but it's not unfathomable for Nunu to fall behind Hecarim in the jungle.
Now, I see Hecarim coming around for a gank. Will be spotted by a ward, and it's kind of situational as to whether Cho Hecarim is stronger in a 2v2 than Caitlyn Janna.
Yeah, you kind of have to just use your CC and catch somebody out. I mean, plenty of damage with the red buff in from Hecarim as well, plus Rampage, but yeah, it looks like they're just going to give it up. They're getting spotted. Bluely in the mid takes a lot of damage from Astralis there, so you kind of mentioned it before. The range versus melee problem with Kha'Zix, that he can often get punished. Top lane have actually got problems as well. Sadia's going to get jumped on there first, they're going deep there. The barrier activated for Ashe, but that snowball's going to make it enough there. The Ignite does pick it up there for Jace. And a nice work there. It looks like DJ Norman, all that persistence in the top lane finally pays off, and he gives Jace the first blood.
And when you're as speedy as Nunu, it's easy to just keep looping around for ganks, just chucking out a snowball, eating a creep, and eventually one of them has to come out.
Yeah, I mean, Nunu certainly does not have the same sort of ganking ability as a lot of other junglers. He's got no real CC, he's just got, a lot of slows, which can be good, but is not nearly something like, I don't know, Maokai, for example, who's got an actual snare that he can, gap close to you to. What Nunu is very good at, much like, I guess, someone like Mundo, is pressuring other people. And you're right, with all that move speed, he can just weave in and out, and just kind of annoy them down to the point where they think he can't possibly be there still. And lo and behold, Nunu shows up, and unfortunately that's first blood down to Ashe.
Well, with the blue buff and some CDR up, I mean, Nunu's running around at 438 move speed. To give you an idea, Ashe has 325.
He is quite speedy, is what you're trying to tell me. Yep, AD carries very obviously have low move speeds for the most part, and this Nunu is certainly the turbo Nunu. He's not about doing anything in half measures. He's all the speed all the time, and gonna annoy Hecarim there back with a snowball, preventing that recall, and maybe even look for a steal here, potentially some pressure down the bottom lane.
Yeah, they have the option of the turret dive here. The turret's very low in health also, so if he wants to be patient, it could just be a 3v1 with no turret.
Well, it looks like they might be going for that. In fact, maybe they'll just turn up the dive assault. There it comes in, the snowball comes out seasonal. Gets exhausted there. Great dodge of that Q there as well. Looks like Nunu going to come in for some extra damage. Looks like, I think Hecarim's coming down, but he's not quite there yet. Nunu, though, not enough damage and no mana left. The tower does go down, so that mission's accomplished. But Hecarim's going to say, hey, Nunu, how you doing, man? And Nunu's going to throw a snowball and back off. Can't really afford to fight 1v3 there. And looks like Astralis is doing some next level zoning here, walking all the way up and trying to hit Bluely behind the turret. Little low on mana is Lux, but I think that blue buff's due to come up, and DJ Norman did ward it as well, expecting it to be back. So I think they're going to go for a dragon and probably just transition straight into a blue here. So, got a tower, didn't quite get the kills they wanted, but great objective control here in the bottom half of the map.
And it's worth noting here, we do have a W max on Kha'Zix here, so a bit harkening back to pre-nerf Kha'Zix. This build has definitely been nerfed directly because you don't get that free passive damage, and right now the passive doing 55 damage. You don't get that free 55 damage anymore. It's had a slight AD ratio buff, but again, this is the build that was targeted for the nerf, and it is hurting a little bit.
Yeah, good steal there from Nunu as well. Hecarim did have his smite up, so DJ Norman, realizing this, decided to just consume smite it away and deny that buff away. He'll donate the next blue, which will come up a little bit, to Astralis, whose mana-hungry Lux definitely would like it, although Astralis does have a tier, so maybe thinking that Nunu's going to be taking a lot of these blues potentially. Or maybe just, building tier because Archangel's is sweet.
Archangels and Seraph's Embrace in particular, very favourite pickup right now if you just do have those mana issues.
And of course, that shield's not too bad on the Embrace either. In fact, one of the most cost-efficient items in the game, I believe, in terms of what it gives you.
Yeah, it's always interesting going to Leaguepedia or something like that and just look at all the LoL wiki and looking at item efficiencies. And there's a lot of actives that are basically free, i.e. you're paying for the stats, but you're getting the active for free. I mean, a massive shield that's scaled in your mana is a fantastic thing to pick up.
And it looks like Seasonal could be in trouble here down the bottom lane. Shogat's going to get absolutely slowed to death. Pretty much perma-slowed at this point. Blue buff Nunu is so impossible to get away from. Plus the Zephyr, good flash though. Manages to close the distance and he will get out of the way. Blue Lee even coming in as well, but he flashed at the right time. There looks like a binding coming down. Astra's there, trying to pick up that Kha'Zix, just bursting down with that laser. Doesn't quite get the kill, but chunks him down to around half health there using that reasonably short cooldown ultimate.
Now, if you had blue buff there was a potential that you could get a second round of spells on the Ignite down for the kill, but smartly realized he wasn't going to pick up a kill realistically there. Kept his flash and his Ignite up.
And it looks like Dragon's coming this time. I actually thought they got it before, but I guess they peeled off to oh no, sorry, I remember now. Iron Gaming came through, so they couldn't quite get Dragon, so they transitioned to blue instead, and now they've got that Dragon secured at 9 minutes, which is certainly another nice thing about having Nunu on your team. He's pretty good at doing just minions in general, Dragon being no exception.
He's good at annoying enemies and killing buffs. That's kind of his forte, right?
Yeah. So as long as you play to that style, you build a comp around it, or you have that actively in your mind when you're playing with the Nunu, yes, lots of good things happen, and it is indeed Turbo Nunu. He's 500 flat movement speed right now with Blood Boil active, plus boots of mobility. This is indeed the Turbo Nunu.
This is what it said on the box, and this is what we're getting.
Yeah. I mean, it's DJ Nolan playing Nunu. You've come to expect it, and he's certainly delivering. Which is nice this time. Kha'Zix actually down the bottom here, hanging out in the Tri-Bush in the top lane. We might be looking at a 3v1 tower dive, but the rest of coming up could be bad. And you see Blue Lee going to get spotted off there. Astra's with the binding, lands it very nicely. There's the Nunu ultimate as well. Really nice combo. And Ash gets obliterated as well by First Mate as the rest of Iron Gaming tries to come in to help him out. See, they're forced to flash as the snowball comes in, but Permasoy coming out here. Jay switches forms. He's going to try and do the dunking. There's C taking the damage, and the exhaust does come out onto Nunu, but Astra's cleans it up with a light binding. There's the snare there as well, and Ace in the hole picks it up there for Zerk as he takes out Alucio and Hecarim, and now the top tower is likely going to go down as well. So Lucent Singularity has just popped it with light binding, of course, being the stun.
And yeah, much like our last game, we are definitely seeing both XL5 teams in this round really putting their best foot forward early. And it's the lane strength here. They're playing to it, they're using it, they're grouping early. It's very, very difficult for Iron Gaming to come back in this game.
And I guess one nice feature of this composition from X5 is that, I mentioned that it could have been a support Nunu at some point. That was certainly a thing. Nunu Caitlyn was a big, big lane back when Nunu support was more viable. His support side's been nerfed a little. That's part of the reason why he's been retooled more as a jungler. But if you have a Nunu on your team, and who happens to just get enough levels to get enough Blood Boil, you can just Blood Boil your Caitlyn, and it's almost like having an extra support. Caitlyn just goes absolutely Super Saiyan. With this sort of protection, it's going to be a Blood Boil.
You get over that kind of mid-game hump before Caitlyn has the IE Phantom Dancer if you have the Nunu on your team.
Yeah, and I mean, with Janna for added protection as well, you've filled the Nunu slot in a different place. Oh my goodness, nice ultimate there, picks up Kha'Zix. Nice snipe coming in from Astris. And looks like mid tower's going to fall down here as well. But yeah, Caitlyn is very scary now, and quite possibly the least of the worries here for Iron Gaming, unfortunately.
And that's a scary thought.
It is indeed. And looks like they're just going to go for the siege here. I mean, they've got good poke, they've got Lux, they've got Jace, they've got Caitlyn, they've got pretty much a really strong siege team. Whereas Ace in the Hole going to come out, does thread the needle and find Hecarim. He falls there to the already reasonably immense damage BF Sword Caitlyn. Just picked that one up nice and quickly. You can see all these dodges of Cho's Rupture as well. All that Blood Boil, all that latency, all the lack of latency. Yeah, Chase Sadius here getting picked off maybe. Damage going to come out there. Pills of a Peacemaker comes through. And just poke here for X5. All they want is towers, and they're in a perfect position to really abuse the siege potential of their team.
They're a poke comp at this point. I mean, you look at Jace, you look at Caitlyn, you look at Lux. I mean, core tenets of a poke push comp. But, I mean, they're going to win team fights straight up as well. Like, there's no middle ground here, unfortunately, for Iron Gaming.
Which I think if you're running this sort of comp is exactly where you want to be. We always say that in poke you usually want to be even or ahead. If you're so ahead that if they team fight you, you'll win as well, then you can't really lose, right? Because you can
you got everything.
Yeah, exactly. You have the best of both worlds. And looks like C's not going to take a big chunk of damage. There's Janna trying to pick it up, but not quite in range for Zephyr, unfortunately. Pretty low on mana as well, and one auto likely would not have done it. First Mate throws out the EQ combo over the side there as well, being very, very annoying, much like a Nidalee. There's a light binding onto Seed, the damage coming out as well. And a bit more damage, no, not quite enough. Captain Ultimate not quite back up yet.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing these hits land, and I think the kill is going down, but I forget it's 13 minutes into the game. Caitlyn doesn't have that Infinity Edge or anything you'd expect when you're sieging this inner turret as a poke comp here. That's kind of the It's just a massive, massive snowball's happened here, clearly.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I was going to go there.
I know you were. That's why I cut it off. Because
why would you do that to me?
No snowballing.
In all seriousness, no. Nunu actually was just busy jungling as well. They didn't even need him there. They had plenty of disengage with Janna if things happen. They got Jace as well. Acceleration, get out of there, possibly knock somebody away with his hammer form E.
And you'll see here a Bloodthirster picked up on Caitlyn. And Menace and I were talking about this before. This is a great time to pick up a Bloodthirster on Caitlyn because although it doesn't lead to the same damage output as an Infinity Edge does in the mid to late game team fights, when it comes to pushing, you just have more AD for your Piltover Peacemaker to clear waves faster. And that's what they're doing here. They're sieging. And the Bloodthirster is the sieging choice on Caitlyn.
Yeah, and I mean, it is one of those kind of time-sensitive items as well, but 14 minutes are more than, like, well and truly under par on that one in terms of timing for that item, so Team Deathmatch V2 is going to be very happy with that, and the poke just continues here. Jace, in fact, picked himself up Brutalizer and the Manamine as well. He's how many away? Oh, he's about halfway there through the tier stack, so little way to go still, but he'll get there in reasonably short order. And Oracle's now up for pause as well, so very much X5 really just want to take control of this map like they've been doing and try and seal away this game. And I imagine we're going to see lots more poke coming out because, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Seems to be working so far.
And it's one of those things where they've taken the Oracles to aggressively counter jungle, but they've been doing that all game anyway, so they're just cementing a complete and utter vision advantage for themselves.
Yeah, they're going to eat away at this next tier 2 tower here. Very methodical, actually. I mean, you often have to play methodically in a poke comp just because usually you don't have the ability to win straight up team fights. I think in this case, as you noted, Papa, that's likely not the case here for X5 Eclipse, but you do kind of want to be careful about it because if you mess up and you get team fought on, things can go wrong very, very quickly. So I imagine, if history is any indicator, we'll likely see the top tier 2 go out next before they try and assault any sort of inhibitor turret. But, I mean, the poke is good. Lux landing a life binding is almost a guarantee. Kill the damage could be an arrow out from Asher. DJ Nolan, though, activates his ultimate absolute zero. Hecarim in the back trying to get in there. Will I as well. Actually, Team Deathmatch V2 has been dropped. A great cleanse out, though, from Caitlyn. And Seed there trying to fix it up. But it can't quite happen here. Eclipse just diving through the rest of them, peeling perfectly for their team. And that's a complete clean ace there for X5 Eclipse as first mate lands the triple. And, they're only going to lose one tier 2, but I have a funny feeling they're going to lose a little more now.
Yeah, just hoping the minions break here so that they can take down the inhibitor. Otherwise, they might even try and tank it up. DJ Norman pretty tanky, but not easy with the Janna shield. And, yeah, the inhibitor goes down at the 16-minute mark.
Yeah. There's a couple more auto attacks here, all 5 of them still there. Going to be able to peace out as well. Here's Acceleration, get Blood Brawl, gets him out of the way. And of course a Howling Gale can follow in there as well. And I guess that's kind of what you were talking about, Smith. Iron Gaming were like, well, we kind of have to make something happen now, because if we get poked to death, we're just going to lose. But turns out that it seems like X5 Eclipse is still far enough ahead. They almost got Caitlyn, but an incredibly clutch cleanse managed to get her out of that rest of the CC. And unfortunately, when they couldn't pick off Caitlyn, it was just lights out for that team fight there for Iron Gaming. Just too far behind to really make a difference, despite a reasonably decent engage.
Yeah, look, it could have been a lot rougher for Iron Gaming, but it's the item threshold special. It's the fact that, Hecarim at this point, they're going for an emergency Baron here, which I'm not... They didn't do a lot of shared tanking to take out here. Hecarim has gone for this offensive snowballing build and has no extra health on items, so he just explodes out and now they know they're on Baron.
Yeah, I was going to say they might actually be able to get it. Lux isn't saying hello, but Asterisk is like, wait, what just happened? She laces the
being very, very, phased by this.
He's not concerned. This is actually taking a long time as well. They do have consume.
The very early smite went down also, so this is prime for a steal.
They're all in. Seasonal very low does consume there, and unfortunately they just can't quite finish it. True emergency Baron indeed. DJ Norman gets in there, consumes it. Says thank you very much for preparing this one earlier. And a kill there on Kha'Zix as well for Astros as he picks one up.
An A for effort for Iron Gaming, but that was optimistic to say the least.
I don't know what tier comes after emergency, but that was not emergency Baron. That was
national emergency.
That may well be national emergency Baron. Oceanic emergency. It's pandemic level, like zombie apocalypse time.
Ash lives on about 10 health there.
Just walks away. Yeah, calculated.
Calculated.
But still, the damage coming in here. Especially with that Baron steal. If they weren't setting the game up before, I think that Baron just kind of put the nail in the coffin, unfortunately, for Iron Gaming. X5 Eclipse...
their goal at the 17-minute mark, more or less.
Yeah, 32... Oh, now they have.
No, they haven't.
No? Oh, I can't do maths? Never mind.
I said more or less because it was like 200 off and still is. Explosion.
Yeah, lots of explosions. Pretty colours. That is sadly a lot of what Iron Gaming have to enjoy at this point. Hecarim in the top lane, yeah, he's in trouble. Goodbye. And I mean, it sounds like I don't have much to say, but unfortunately that's sort of the truth here. X5 just played a really strong, aggressive early game. They played to the strength.
There's no way to shoutcast a 15-0 doubling of gold match. Like, either you're going to be negative, which there's no reason to. Like, this team's done very well to get to the 4th round of the Oceanic qualifier, and it's only fresh days, or you just kind of let the action show itself, you know?
Yeah. Losing to X5 Eclipse, I think any team would be happy with. Any new team especially would be happy with that. I mean, as I said, touted at the beginning of this match, touted as the second best team in Oceania. Certainly in Australia, I guess we can't quite make statements about Oceania yet, given that,
it's so close to the assassination of Pause there. Trying to get on the scoreboard here for Iron Gaming.
There's a style ult for Nunu, I think. Looks like Nexus turret's going down. Seasonal in trouble. Gets picked up there by first mate. And Papa Smithy, I have a question for you. When do you think we're going to start seeing Jace bans?
I think when we get to the round of 16, when we get to the established team versus the established team, if you've been following the meta, Jace is just a must ban because he's ridiculous.
That about sums it up. Inhibitor goes down.
Do you want any further explanation as to why he's ridiculous?
I think when we get into the bans, like the Jace bans, we can probably discuss it, figure out what else opens up. But I mean,
he wins lane from level 2. He transitions into fight. He pokes. He can team fight when he's ahead. He does everything.
He does everything. Sounds good.
And he dies too.
He does in fact die as a nice little kill there.
The worth comes out in old chat just in time. Well played to Team Exile 5 Eclipse.
Great bit of sportsmanship there at the end for Iron Gaming, but X5 Eclipse kind of expected to win. He expected to go deep in this tournament and take a very convincing game there in round 4, which I think wraps them up undefeated still for the day, which they'll be very happy.